Alive, but her alleged kidnapper is arrested too. 9-year-old Charlotte Senna discovered hidden in a cupboard after a ransom note led investigators right to her. ABC's Rita Roy with the one thing the alleged kidnapper gave police that made this case easy to solve.
It was a desperate search for 48 hours that ended with a miracle. Family and friends reacting to the news that 9-year-old Charlotte Senna was found safe after police say she was abducted from Moreau Lake State Park near Albany, New York over the weekend.
She'll be going home. That's the story. Charlotte will be going home.
Police arresting 47-year-old Craig Nelson Ross Jr., who they say snatched Charlotte and held her for ransom, leaving a note at the Senna family home.
State police immediately go to the mailbox and identify what is a ransom note that had been left behind for Charlotte. In the morning, opens the mailbox and inserts the ransom note, leaving a critical piece of evidence behind, his own fingerprint.
Police finding him and Charlotte in a camper behind his mother's home 13 miles from the Senna's house. Charlotte had last been seen Saturday evening. She was camping with her family and riding bikes with her friends, then went around the bike loop one last time by herself. When the fourth grader didn't return after 15 minutes, her parents started searching. Her bike found along the path, but Charlotte was gone.
You can never be too careful with your kids. You know, pay attention to where they're at, what they're doing. For her to ride her bike around that loop would take her about 4 minutes, 5 minutes. You'd think they're safe doing that at 9 years old, but you just got to be cognizant and be paying attention to the things around you, your surroundings all the time.
Ross from Balton Spa, New York, has been charged with kidnapping in the first degree and held without bail. Additional charges are expected. Police say Charlotte appears to be okay physically. Investigators now trying to determine whether the family was deliberately targeted. Rita Roy, ABC News, New York.
We are ready with a new episode of the Texas Crime Stories podcast. Here's a look at what listeners can expect.
In the fall of 2017, the air was filled with the excitement of college life at Trinity University. But not everything was what it seemed for one student.
Partying, drugs, and unhealthy relationship would lead to a tragic ending for 19-year-old Kaylee Mandotti. Her dreams and aspirations brutally cut short. But was it an accident or murder? I'm Erica Hernandez.
And I'm Lee Waldman. This is Texas Crime Stories, Twisted Love, the Kaylee Mandotti tragedy.
The full episode is out tomorrow. You can check it out on KSAT12, on our YouTube channel, or wherever you get your podcasts.
No need to set your phone alarm for 1:20 tomorrow afternoon. The government's going to do it for you. It's going to set off a loud screech on your cell phone for a nationwide test of the emergency alert system. Everyone's phone is going to be included this time when the traditional alert hits TV and radio stations. You should also receive a text message telling you it's only a test. This will mark the second time the federal government has sent the alert to mobile phones.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy continues to face pushback from members of his own party. Florida Republican Representative Matt Gaetz officially introduced a motion to vacate, which starts the process that could result in McCarthy losing his speaker's gavel. ABC's M. Wynn with why McCarthy may need to rely on Democrats in order to keep the speaker's chair.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is facing the greatest risk to his leadership after one of his harshest Republican critics began the process to oust him from his post.
Declaring the office of Speaker of the House of Representatives to be vacant.
Florida Representative Matt Gaetz introducing a motion to vacate the chair of the Speaker.
At this point next week, one of two things will happen. Kevin McCarthy won't be the Speaker of the House, or he'll be the Speaker of the House working at the pleasure of the Democrats.
This after hardline Republicans were furious McCarthy worked with Democrats to pass a short-term spending bill to keep the government open. Now, the House must consider Gaetz's resolution within 2 days. McCarthy appeared confident, firing back on social media saying, "Bring it on."
If 5 Republicans go with Democrats, then I'm out. So it's whether. Probably so.
But he can only afford to lose 4 Republican votes to hold on to his speaker's gavel, and at least 5 have already signaled they want him out.
I would support it because I don't think he is the person to lead us. I think he's demonstrated that.
Yes. Favorably disposed, yeah.
Sources say McCarthy called House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries last night, as this may come down to Democrats bailing him out, though McCarthy has said he won't be seeking any support from them. Many Democrats say they're not interested. Others, though, say they would want something in return.
If the Democrats want to own Kevin McCarthy, they can have him.
With another potential government shutdown coming mid-November, some say this shouldn't be the focus right now.
Most Americans don't actually care about his leadership role. What we care about is his impact. So I think that's what's on the minds of American people, are the consequences of failed leadership like this when there's so much infighting within their own party.
Democrats are meeting today to figure out their next steps. McCarthy is doing the same with Republicans, who could also offer a motion to table Gates' efforts, which would kill the push to remove McCarthy. Em Nguyen, ABC News, Washington.
Taking a look outside with live cam. We have got a very quiet day. Get everything together that you're going to need. We got rain and cooler temperatures coming.
Yeah, we're still 2 days away from that, but
we got to find our sweaters. Sweaters were put away a long time ago.
That's right. We're giving you a heads up here to go find some of that stuff because it will get not cold, but cooler by the weekend. We'll have highs in the 70s. It's starting to feel a little bit more like Halloween, right? Let's take a look at this picture on KSAT Connect. We love this every year. Oscar sends us in as neighbors. They put together this great scene in their front yard with the skeletons. And this is the skeleton family portrait. And he says, I wonder how they managed to get their kid to sit still long enough for a picture. That's funny. Great shot. We'll show some more of these as we get a little bit closer to Halloween, but always a fun sight to see. We appreciate it as always. And don't forget, we're just 11 days away from the Ring of Fire solar eclipse, the annular solar eclipse, which takes place on October 14th. Around 11:50 in the morning. That's when it peaks, at least. Of course, the moon moves in front of the sun. You get that ring of fire. You got to have your glasses for this, though. We keep reminding you. You have to have those certified glasses if you want to watch this, even during peak annularity. You're going to want them. We've got, of course, the total solar eclipse coming up next year, but good stuff on the horizon. And as we look at radar right now, some showers on the coast, but other than that, there's nothing much to worry about. I don't think we're going to see a lot here around San Antonio today. Just a 20% chance of rain. And temperatures are going to be warm. 92 is the forecast high. It'll feel a little bit warmer than that thanks to humidity, which is still fairly thick. That humidity eventually goes away in this good-looking forecast, and good-looking 70 forecast that we've got. We're going to show it to you here in just a few minutes, guys.
Thank you, Justin. 6,400 air fryers are being recalled. It's due to fire and burn hazards. The 2 models in question are made by a company called Sakura. This is what they look like. They were sold at Sakura's website as well as Amazon from May 2019 through October 2020 for about $48 to $90. They are black with silver accents, and the brand name is on the top of each unit. The wire connection in that fryer can overheat. There are 9 reports of air fryers catching fire, burning and smoking. No injuries or property damage reported, though. If you have one of these, you're being asked to stop using it and to contact Sakura for a $45 Amazon gift card or a free replacement.
Believe it or not, fast food drive-thrus are getting faster. And we'll tell you which restaurants top the list and why selling Taylor Swift concert tickets could get you at tax time. Those are among today's business headlines with CNN's Maribel Aber.
Drug makers of the first 10 medicines selected for Medicare price negotiations have now agreed to participate in the talks, even after many of them sued to halt the process last month. CNBC reports the drug companies confirmed their agreement in separate statements. The Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services hasn't yet responded to a request for comment. President Joe Biden's Inflation Reduction Act, which passed last year, empowers Medicare to negotiate drug prices for the first time in the program's 6-decade history. The process is expected to take until August of next year, with reduced prices going into effect in January of 2026. Fast food drive-through lanes are getting faster by about 29 seconds per visit, according to new research by InTouch Insight, which tracks this data annually. The group sent mystery shoppers through about 1,500 drive-throughs across most of the major fast food chains over the summer. Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, and Wendy's had the fastest times based on car volumes, but overall, InTouch found that drive-through demand is down since the end of the pandemic, and more customers are using mobile apps and dine-in kiosks to place their orders. If you sold your Taylor Swift concert ticket this year and made a nice profit, Uncle Sam wants his cut. This year, IRS rules changed related to the dollar amount threshold for sales on a third-party site like Ticketmaster or eBay. Previously, you could make third-party sales of up to $20,000 before taxes kicked in. Well, that's now plummeted to a threshold of just $600. With the average third-party T-Swift ticket price over $2,000, many people will end up having to file a 1099-K form for the taxable overage. If you think the IRS won't know you sold your ticket, third-party sites are now required to report the sale on your behalf. And those are your business headlines. I'm Maribel Aber at the NASDAQ Market Site.
It's a good thing David didn't sell his Taylor Swift ticket.
Nope.
All right, it's an event that is not only for skywatchers, the annular solar eclipse. There are some great spots in the community to catch the rare sight, and we're going to show you what you need to know ahead of the event after the break.
Something very rare and very unique, easily once in a lifetime, is scheduled to happen right here in San Antonio.
It happens on October 14th. The moon is going to move completely in front of the sun, cutting a path across south central Texas and then converging near San Antonio.
Justin tells us what you can expect from the annual solar eclipse.
We're getting two in a row when they should be hundreds of years apart.
San Antonio, or at least most of the city, has hit the celestial jackpot. Not only are we going to be in the path of a full annular solar eclipse on October 14th, but a total solar eclipse on April 8th of next year. And while the total solar eclipse is going to draw more attention, you shouldn't sleep on the annular.
So this may be your only chance to see this, and it's an incredible thing to see. It looks like there's a hole in the sun.
And that's the difference between the two. How much sun you're going to see during the event.
Sometimes the moon can block out the whole of the sun.
That's during a total.
But sometimes it's just a little bit further away from us. Its orbit isn't perfectly circular. And so when it's just a bit too far, you can still see the edge of the sun.
That's the annular.
And annulus is a fancy word for donut. And so that's what we call the eclipse, where we can still see the edge of the sun or the ring of fire.
Here's a look at the path and what time you'll see the ring of fire. Keep in mind the event lasts a few hours. The main show, though, just a few minutes.
During the annular eclipse, you'll need glasses like these during the entire event, even at its peak. It's not until April of next year, during the total solar eclipse, that you can lose the glasses, at least for a little bit, during totality.
Homemade pinhole cameras can work too. And if you plan to use telescopes or binoculars, don't forget to attach a solar filter. And if all else fails, find a tree.
And look under a tree, because what happens is all the little gaps between leaves make little apertures, and so you get images of the sun on the ground. That happens every day. But on a normal day, the sun is just a circle. But on eclipse day, it's a crescent. And so you see all these little crescent suns on the ground under the trees.
And here's a fun fact. The temperature actually drops during an eclipse. During a total eclipse, it can drop close to 10 degrees depending on the current temperature and humidity.
An annular eclipse, you'll still feel that change in temperature. It's enough. It's more than a cloud going in front of the sun, but it's not like the total.
Speaking of clouds, we don't want them.
Am I nervous about clouds? I'm always nervous about clouds.
We are at the mercy of weather. While clouds wouldn't completely ruin the experience, they would take away from the once-in-a-lifetime event. Meantime, you may notice at the eclipse's peak that wildlife will start to act weird.
Birds will do the thing that they do after sunset. So after the sun sets, but before it gets dark, and they do the swooping around thing, and they make a lot of noise, birds will do that.
Our local bats may also get confused, although it's the total solar eclipse that may really throw them for a loop. Lastly, you'll want to start making plans now, with plenty of out-of-town visitors headed our way. Justin Horn, KSAT12 News.
The annular.
Justin, that was a lot of information. I'm going to have to go back and watch that story again on the website.
And we have the total solar eclipse coming up next year, as I said, but on our website we have all the information. We're compiling more by the day.
And I remember years ago the thing about the crescents under the trees. It's a really neat deal.
It really is. And I think what's even wilder about all this is the last time we had an annular solar eclipse pass over San Antonio in 1940. Not that long ago. But the last time we had a total solar eclipse pass over San Antonio, 1397. Okay, so this gives you some perspective. This is one of those rare events. That's the total is in April. 85 so far today. The record is 98. We won't get there. That was set back in 1979, but the rain is on the way. Thursday's our day. We'll take a look at that forecast coming up.
By the way, Justin was talking about how important the glasses are. I've already seen those glasses being sold in like convenience stores.
But you got to make sure they're not like a cheap knockoff.
They got to be certified.
Yeah.
You got to be certified. Yeah, and they can expire too. So if you have some left over from 2017, you're going to want to check those.
And I'm going to be doing a story as well with an eye doctor about what happens to your eyes and why you need that protection.
That's good. I mean, I know you're not supposed to, but I don't know the whole science behind it, so I'll be interested to find out. The eclipse coming up again, October 14th. I want to show you the drought monitor. This is still from last week, but it shows you how terribly dry we are and how important this rain will be on Thursday. But as another note, the Weather Service up there in New Braunfels pointed out, and I think this is very interesting, we're going to take you down to Zavala County, the fact that no other county in Texas has been in drought more often or longer than Zavala County in the state of Texas. Since 2000, since they started collecting information with the drought monitor, that's been one of the hardest hit places. Pretty incredible. So we feel for you down there in La Pryor, Batesville, Crystal City. We know the drought has been bad this year. Thankfully, Zavala County is kind of coming out of the drought a little bit. And hopefully on Thursday, we'll get some more rain here, and that will help things out further. We certainly need it here in San Antonio too, but just an interesting fact there. 85 right now in town. We don't have a lot of cloud cover out there. Dew point is at 70. We've got light winds. And temperatures today will be right back where they were yesterday, low 90s. 92 here in town, 93 Pleasanton, and some upper 80s there for Kerrville, Bernie, and Fair Oaks Ranch. Here's a look at the satellite picture, and we do have quite a bit of cloud cover, but it's not developing into showers, at least not yet. We're noticing a few now starting to take shape around Beeville. In some of this activity, you kind of see a wave of clouds moving east to west here. We'll watch that because I think some of these clouds could develop into some light showers. So there is still a chance there today. It's just not a huge chance, 20%. I think is what our rain chance will be this afternoon. Bigger picture, we see our low spinning now. We've got the front trailing back here, and that's the front that's going to move through as we get into Thursday and bring us the rain chances. Now, there will be severe weather along this front today, at least there's potential for that, across parts of West Texas and into the plains. By the time the front makes it here, the severe weather potential is actually quite a bit lower. I can't rule out a strong storm on Thursday as the front comes through, but I don't think it's going to be a big problem. Let's look at the forecast. This afternoon, again, maybe a shower here or there. Tomorrow, same story, maybe a little bit more coverage as the front's getting a little bit closer. But it's Thursday morning, we start to see the showers and storms developing out ahead of the front. And then we probably will get a line of showers and storms right along the boundary that will sink south into our area midday into the afternoon. And this is where we could see some of those pockets of heavier rain. There will be enough moisture for that. Not really concerned about flooding either because it's been so dry, and I don't think we're going to get enough rain to cause major flooding, but there could be some localized spots that see some, say, street flooding, at least briefly. And then by the afternoon, a lot of this will start to push south and southwest. And then we'll get a push of some drier, cooler air on Friday, but even more so this weekend. We got kind of a secondary push. It's kind of like a secondary front here that brings in the cooler, drier air over the weekend, and that really makes for some great temperatures. So 70% chance of rain Thursday. That's a day we've got to watch. And then over the weekend, expect some fall-like weather, finally, with mostly cloudy skies. We'll be right back.
We're not that far away from Halloween. At least it's October. At least it's going to be cool.
It's going to be cool, hopefully, in just 2 days.
Yes, it is. And here's Mike and Fiona talking about.
Well, yes, all our Halloween DIY week continues with even more spooky fun.
Yes, indeed. And our favorite mom of four, Christy Cuthbert, is going to be here dressing us up in super creative costumes that you can make at home. You don't want to miss these easy to make ideas.
And if you want to kick up your decorations and do an amazing cauldron, I am going to show you how to do just that.
You can't buy anything that is this cool at all. Hocus Pocus 2 is out, but you know what's missing? A little ice. We're chatting with the actor who played Ice in the original film 30 years ago.
Plus, Heart Foods is baking our day with healthy fall recipes. Wait till you try this pumpkin loaf. And remember, we will be streaming the show today on KSAT12 and our KSAT Plus streaming app, so don't miss it.
That and a whole lot more coming up on SA Live.